Hello everyone. Welcome back to MindPop English. I'm your host, Jennifer. Do you ever feel like you're just one step away from true English fluency? You have the vocabulary, but it doesn't always connect with the confidence and clarity you want. That final step, that bridge from good English to great English, is exactly what today's masterclass is all about. I want to ask you a simple question. Do you sometimes feel that English is almost clear to you, but not completely? You already know many words. You already understand a lot. But when you want to speak, something stops you. You pause. You translate in your head. You feel a little nervous. And you think, why can't I sound natural and confident like native speakers? If that sounds familiar, you are in the right place. In this lesson, we are not only going to practice English, but we are going to transform the way you use it. We will move step by step from basic English, the kind of English you find in textbooks, to advanced English that feels smooth, natural, and confident. Now, what does advanced really mean? Many learners imagine difficult grammar, long words, or complicated expressions. They think advanced English is about using the biggest words possible. But the truth is different. Real advanced English is not about showing off. It is about communicating in a way that feels effortless. It is about choosing the right words for the right moment. It is about sounding natural in every situation. Whether you are chatting with friends, speaking to your boss, or joining an international meeting, think of English like painting. A beginner painter has only a few colors: red, blue, yellow. That is good enough to make something simple. But a master painter mixes many colors. They create light, shade, and depth. The same thing happens with language. Beginners use the basic words: good, bad, big, small. Advanced speakers, however, can choose more precise words. They can make their speech softer, more polite, more formal, or more casual depending on the situation. That is the skill you are going to learn here. Let's start with a quick practice. I'll give you a simple sentence, and then I'll show you how to say it in a more advanced and natural way. I want you to repeat with me. Ready? Basic version: I don't like this idea. Now, advanced version: I'm not entirely convinced this is the best approach. Did you hear the difference? The basic version is direct, almost too direct. It closes the conversation. But the advanced version is softer. It sounds professional. It opens the door to more discussion. Let's say it together. I'm not entirely convinced this is the best approach. Excellent. Let's try another one. Basic version: I don't know. Advanced version: I'm not certain at the moment. This sounds thoughtful. It shows you are considering the question, even if you don't have the answer right away. Let's practice. I'm not certain at the moment. Very good. These small changes make a huge difference. They don't just improve your vocabulary. They change the way other people see you. They make you sound calm, polite, and confident. But vocabulary is only one part of advanced English. Another important part is flow. Think about how native speakers sound. They don't usually speak in short, disconnected sentences. They link their ideas together. They use connectors, like however, on the other hand, or, as a result, they use small conversational phrases like "you know," "I see what you mean," or "that makes sense." These little bridges make speech smooth and natural. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone asks for your opinion. You could answer with one simple word, yes, but that ends the conversation. Instead, An advanced speaker might say, "Yes, I see what you mean. But on the other hand, have we considered this perspective? Do you feel the difference?" The second answer is more alive. It shows you are listening, thinking, and joining the conversation actively. We are going to practice this skill with something called shadowing. Shadowing means you listen to me and repeat almost immediately, copying my pace, tone, and rhythm. Ready? Imagine a colleague says, "I think we should cancel the meeting." A basic reply would be, "No, let's not cancel it." But here's a more advanced reply. "I understand your point, but perhaps we could reschedule instead of canceling altogether." Now, repeat with me slowly. "I understand your point, but perhaps we could reschedule instead of canceling altogether." Great job. This type of reply shows respect. It validates the other person's opinion while still offering a solution. That is how advanced communication works. Another powerful skill for advanced English is paraphrasing. Paraphrasing means expressing the same idea in different words. Why is this important? First, it saves you when you forget a word. Second, it prevents you from repeating the same words again and again. And third, it makes your English sound richer and more dynamic. Let's try it. The sentence is, "She was very happy about the news." An advanced version could be, "She was absolutely delighted when she heard the news." Another version, "The news filled her with an immense sense of joy." Now, your turn. Pause and think of another way to say it. Excellent. Paraphrasing is also a great way to show you are listening. Imagine your teammate says, "I'm worried we don't have enough time to finish this project." You can paraphrase, "So, if I understand correctly, you're concerned we might miss the deadline." Do you see how powerful that is? It proves you listened. It prevents misunderstandings, and it builds trust. So far in this lesson, we have looked at choosing more advanced and polite words, linking ideas to create flow, shadowing to improve rhythm, paraphrasing to sound dynamic and show active listening. But we are just getting started. In the next part, we will focus on vocabulary upgrades and politeness strategies. The little secrets that make your English not only correct, but also elegant and professional. In the first part of our lesson, we explored how advanced English is not about using complicated words, but about choosing the right words, creating flow, and sounding confident. Now let's go further. Let's upgrade your vocabulary and practice some powerful politeness strategies. These two skills will completely change the way people hear you. Let's start with vocabulary upgrades. Many learners repeat the same simple words every day. Big, small, help, good, bad. These words are useful, but if you want to sound advanced, you need more variety. Think of it like cooking. If you only use salt and pepper, your food is okay. But when you add spices, herbs, and flavors, the food becomes delicious. Vocabulary is the same. Let's practice together. I'll give you a simple word, and then I'll give you advanced options. Repeat after me. The word is big. Advanced options: enormous, substantial, considerable. Sentence: it's a big problem. Advanced: it's a substantial problem. The word is small. Advanced options: tiny, minute, insignificant. Sentence: she lives in a small apartment. Advanced: she lives in a tiny apartment. The word is help. Advanced options: assist, support, aid. Sentence: can you help me with this? Advanced: could you assist me with this? Did you notice how each advanced version feels more precise? They don't sound artificial. They sound natural and professional. Let's continue with another common problem. The word very. Many learners use very for everything. Very good, very bad, very fast, very slow. But advanced speakers often replace very plus adjective with a single stronger word. Let's play a quick game. The basic sentence. The view is very beautiful. Upgrade. The view is breathtaking. Basic. He runs very fast. Upgrade. He runs swiftly. Basic. The food was very bad. Upgrade. The food was terrible. By training your brain to choose stronger words, your English instantly becomes more expressive. Try to practice this daily. Every time you want to say very plus something, stop and think. Is there a single better word? Now, vocabulary alone is not enough. Advanced English is also about tone. How you say something is often more important than what you say. In English-speaking cultures, politeness and diplomacy are key. A direct command can sound rude, but a polite request creates respect and cooperation. For example, the sentence, "Close the window," is correct, but it feels too direct. A polite speaker would say, "Would you mind closing the window?" Same request, but now it sounds friendly. Let's practice with another example. Instead of saying, "You're wrong," which sounds harsh, you can say, "I see where you're coming from, but I have a slightly different perspective." Try repeating this. "I see where you're coming from, but I have a slightly different perspective." Excellent. Here's another polite version. Instead of "That's wrong," you can say, "That's an interesting point, but perhaps we could also consider another approach." Repeat. "That's an interesting point, but perhaps we could also consider another approach." Beautiful. These kinds of sentences are golden. They help you disagree politely, keep the conversation open, and make you sound more professional. Now let's move to another important part of advanced fluency. Pace. Many learners believe that speaking fast means speaking fluently, but that's not true. Speaking too fast can make you sound nervous and difficult to understand. Real fluency is about clarity, not speed. Native speakers often pause. They use silence to give their words more power. Let's practice together. Say this slowly with me. "I think we should wait until tomorrow to make a decision." Did you feel the calmness? Did you hear how clear it was? Pausing makes your message stronger, not weaker. One big challenge for learners is translation. Many students translate every thought from their native language into English. This slows you down and makes your sentences unnatural. The solution is to think directly in English. Here's a simple daily exercise. Narrate the world around you in English. For example, when you make coffee, think, "I'm pouring hot water over the coffee grounds. The aroma is strong and rich." When you walk outside, think, "The street is crowded with people rushing to work. The air feels cool on my face." At first it feels strange, but the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. Soon, English will come to your mind automatically. Let's try this right now. The basic thought, "It's a nice day." Advanced version, "It's a pleasantly warm day, with a soft breeze moving through the trees." Repeat with me. "It's a pleasantly warm day, with a soft breeze moving through the trees." Another basic thought, "She is tired." Advanced version, "She looks completely drained, as if she has been carrying the weight of a long day." Repeat, "She looks completely drained, as if she has been carrying the weight of a long day." This is how you turn simple English into descriptive. Advanced English. Now let's talk about another secret weapon. Idioms. Idioms are expressions where the meaning is not clear from the words themselves. For example, break the ice does not mean breaking real ice. It means starting a conversation to make people feel more comfortable. Idioms are used all the time in daily English. When you use them correctly, you sound natural and culturally connected. Let's practice. Repeat after me. I told a joke to break the ice at the meeting. Another one. We might offer a discount to sweeten the deal. And one more. After weeks of research, they hit the nail on the head with their analysis. Now let's use idioms in context. Imagine you're meeting new colleagues. You might say, "Don't worry, I'll help break the ice." Or, if a client seems unsure, you might say, "Maybe we can sweeten the deal with some extra services." Practicing idioms in real conversation makes them easier to remember. Before we end this part, let's review what we covered today. Upgrading basic words to advanced ones, replacing very with stronger vocabulary, politeness strategies to sound respectful and diplomatic, speaking at a clear, natural pace, thinking directly in English to avoid translation, using idioms to sound authentic and natural. In the next part, we will focus on formality, collocations, and softening language, essential tools for making your English flexible, professional, and deeply advanced. In the last part, we explored vocabulary upgrades, politeness strategies, natural pacing, and idioms. Those skills already make your English sound smoother and more professional. Now let's take another big step forward. In this section, we will practice formality, collocations, and softening language. These three skills are absolutely essential if you want to sound flexible, natural, and advanced in every situation. Let's begin with formality. In English, the way you speak changes depending on the situation. If you are talking with close friends, you can be informal and relaxed. If you are writing an email to your manager or speaking in a job interview, you must be more formal. Native speakers do this automatically, but as a learner, you need to train yourself to switch between the two. For example, with friends, you might say, "I'm happy to help," but in a formal context, you would say, "I am pleased to assist you." Both mean the same thing, but the tone is different. Let's practice another pair. Informal. We don't have enough time. Formal. We do not have sufficient time. Try repeating both versions with me. First, the informal, "I'm happy to help." Now the formal, "I am pleased to assist you." Good. Now the second pair. Informal. We don't have enough time. Formal. We do not have sufficient time. Excellent. Being able to switch styles like this is a clear sign of an advanced speaker. Next, let's talk about collocations. A collocation is a pair or group of words that naturally go together. Native speakers use them without thinking. For example, we say make a decision, not do a decision. We say heavy rain, not strong rain. Both are understandable, but only one sounds natural. Let's practice some collocations. Basic, she gave a speech. Advanced, she delivered a powerful speech. Basic, I'm very hungry. Advanced, I'm absolutely starving. Basic, the company made changes. Advanced, the company implemented significant changes. Repeat each one with me. She delivered a powerful speech. Good. I'm absolutely starving. Excellent. The company implemented significant changes. Perfect. When you use collocations, your English flows more smoothly, and you sound much closer to a native speaker. Now let's focus on softening language, also called hedging. English speakers often make their statements less direct, especially in professional or sensitive situations. This is not about being weak. It's about being polite and diplomatic. For example, instead of saying, "This is wrong," you can say, "I'm not sure this is entirely correct." That sounds softer and more professional. Instead of saying, "You should do this," you can say, "Perhaps you might consider doing this." Notice how these small changes completely change the feeling of your words. Let's practice together. Direct, "I can't help you with that." Softened, "I'm afraid I won't be able to assist you with that at this time." Repeat with me. "I'm afraid I won't be able to assist you with that at this time." Excellent. Another one. Direct, "You are late." Softened, "It seems you've arrived a little later than expected." Repeat. "It seems you've arrived a little later than expected." Very good. Using softening language shows respect. It helps you avoid conflict and keeps conversations comfortable. Now, let's connect these skills together with a quick shadowing exercise. Shadowing means you repeat after me almost immediately, copying my tone, pace, and rhythm. Ready? Listen first. Over the past few years, I've realized that small adjustments in the way I communicate can make a huge difference in how my message is received. Now repeat after me. Over the past few years, I've realized that small adjustments in the way I communicate can make a huge difference in how my message is received. Excellent. One of the most common adjustments is replacing the word very. As we practiced before, instead of very good, you can say excellent or outstanding instead of very bad. You can say terrible or dreadful instead of very fast. You can say rapidly or swiftly. Let's play the replacement game. Basic, "The movie was very good." Upgrade, "The movie was outstanding." Basic, "The weather was very bad." Upgrade, "The weather was dreadful." Basic, "She runs very fast." Upgrade, "She runs swiftly." Repeat each one with me, out loud. This habit will push your vocabulary to the next level. But advanced fluency is not only about speaking, it is also about listening deeply. Many learners focus only on their own speaking, but real communication means listening carefully, catching not only the words, but also the tone, the feeling, and the hidden meaning. When you listen actively, you can respond more naturally. For example, if someone says, "I'm worried about this project," don't just reply, "Okay." Instead, show that you listened. You might say, "So, you're concerned we might miss the deadline." That shows understanding and keeps the conversation going. Here's another important skill. Nuance. Nuance means the small differences in meaning or feeling between two sentences. For example, the blunt sentence, "I don't want to feel strong and negative." But if you say, "I'd rather not," the meaning is similar, but the feeling is softer and more polite. Another example, "You're right," is strong agreement, but "I see your point" shows you understand without fully agreeing. Let's practice nuance. Direct, "Stop talking." Advanced, "Could we perhaps continue this conversation a little later? I need to focus right now." Repeat, "Could we perhaps continue this conversation a little later? I need to focus right now." Excellent. Another one. Direct, "I don't like this." Nuanced, "It's not quite to my taste," or "I'm not sure this is the right fit for me." Repeat one of them with me. "It's not quite to my taste." These kinds of expressions make you sound thoughtful, polite, and professional. Before we end this part, Let's quickly review. Formality, switching between casual and formal English. Collocations, using natural word combinations. Softening language, making statements polite and diplomatic. Vocabulary upgrades, replacing very with stronger words. Active listening and nuance, understanding deeper meaning and responding thoughtfully. In the next part, we are going to practice extending conversations and storytelling. These skills will help you avoid short, boring answers and instead build conversations that are alive, interesting, and unforgettable. So far, you have learned how to use advanced vocabulary, polite strategies, and natural collocations. You have also practiced nuance and active listening. These are powerful tools, but there is another challenge that many learners face: how to keep a conversation alive. A lot of learners give short answers. When someone asks, "How was your weekend?" they say, "It was good." That's fine, but the conversation ends immediately. An advanced speaker doesn't stop there. They extend the conversation. They give a little more detail, add a personal touch, and then ask a follow-up question. This keeps the dialogue flowing like a real exchange, not like an interview. Let's practice. Someone asks, "How was your weekend?" Basic answer: "It was good." Advanced answer: "It was really relaxing. Thanks. I went hiking with some friends, and the weather was perfect. How about yours? Did you do anything fun?" Do you see the difference? The advanced version not only shares information, but also invites the other person to continue. That's how conversations grow naturally. Here's another example. Question: "Have you seen that new science fiction movie?" Basic answer: "Yes, I have." Advanced answer: "Yes, I have. The storyline was very exciting, though I found the ending a bit predictable." Have you watched it yet? Notice the structure. Answer the question. Add a detail or opinion. Ask a follow-up question. Let's try one more. Question: "What do you usually eat for breakfast?" Basic: "I eat bread." Advanced: "I usually eat bread with eggs, but recently I've been trying oatmeal because it's healthier." What about you? What's your favorite breakfast? This simple pattern answer, expand, ask will completely change your conversations. Now let's talk about storytelling. Humans are natural storytellers. Stories capture attention, connect emotions, and make your English memorable. If you can tell a story well, even a short one, you will sound advanced and confident. A good story usually has 3 parts: a beginning to set the scene, a middle with events or actions, an end with a conclusion or feeling. Let me give you an example. Last Saturday, I discovered a small cafe I had never visited before. When I walked in, the smell of fresh bread and coffee filled the air. I ordered a cappuccino, and the barista gave me the warmest smile. It turned out to be one of the best cups of coffee I've ever had. Did you notice the structure? Beginning: last Saturday, I discovered a small cafe. Middle: the smell of bread and coffee. Ordering a cappuccino, the barista smiling. And it was one of the best cups of coffee ever. Simple, clear, and engaging. Now it's your turn. Try to create a short story with the same structure. It can be about a meal, a trip, or even something small from your day. Storytelling also becomes stronger when you use connectors. Connectors are words like however, therefore, on the other hand, as a result, meanwhile. They link your ideas so they flow logically. Let's see the difference. Without connectors, I studied hard. I passed the exam. With a connector, I studied hard, and as a result, I passed the exam. Another example, without, I wanted to go for a walk. It started raining. With, I wanted to go for a walk. However, it started raining. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. I studied hard, and as a result, I passed the exam. Excellent. Now, I wanted to go for a walk. However, it started raining. Perfect. Connectors are like traffic signs for your listener. They guide them through your thoughts. Another skill connected to storytelling is learning to reduce filler words. Fillers are sounds like like, or, you know. They appear when we are thinking, but too many fillers make you sound less confident. Instead, replace them with short pauses or transitional phrases like let's see, what I mean is, or simply, well, let's compare. With fillers, I think we should, you know, wait until tomorrow. Without fillers, I think we should wait until tomorrow. Which one sounds stronger? Clearly the second. A pause is more powerful than a filler. Now, let's practice vocabulary expansion in storytelling. Instead of using simple verbs like get or fix, advanced speakers choose precise words. For example, instead of get better, say improve, progress, or enhance. Instead of fix, say repair for objects, restore for old things, or resolve for problems. Practice with me. Basic. We need to fix this problem. Advanced. We need to resolve this issue. Basic. She's making her English better every day. Advanced. She's enhancing her English skills day by day. These precise verbs make your speech sharper and more professional. Sometimes, in a group conversation, you will need to interrupt politely. If you say, "Wait, I want to talk," it can sound rude. Advanced speakers use polite interruptions. For example, "Sorry to interrupt, but may I add something here? If I could just jump in for a moment. I think that's an important point." Repeat with me. "Sorry to interrupt, but may I add something here?" Excellent. "If I could just jump in for a moment. I think that's an important point." Very good. Polite interruptions allow you to join the discussion without breaking the flow. Finally, let's practice summarizing. Another key advanced skill. When someone speaks for a long time, being able to summarize their point shows that you listened carefully. Example, your colleague says, "I've been working late every night this week. My boss keeps adding tasks, and I hardly sleep." Your summary. So, you've been overloaded with work and are feeling exhausted. This short reply shows understanding and builds empathy. Before we end this part, let's review the skills we practiced. Extending conversations with details and questions. Storytelling with clear beginning, middle, and end. Using connectors to link ideas. Reducing filler words and using pauses. Expanding vocabulary with precise verbs. Interrupting politely in group discussions. Summarizing to show active listening. In the next part, we will dive into intonation, emphasis, and descriptive language, the tools that give your English real music and power. In the last part, we explored extending conversations, telling stories, and summarizing. Now, let's go deeper into the music of English. Intonation, emphasis, and descriptive language. These three elements make your English not only correct, but also expressive, engaging, and memorable. Let's start with intonation. Intonation is the rise and fall of your voice as you speak. It's the melody of English. Without intonation, speech sounds flat and robotic. With intonation, Your words carry emotion and meaning. For example, in English, a yes or no question usually rises at the end. Try this with me. Are you coming to the party? Did you hear how my voice went up at the end? That rising tone signals it's a question. Now, for a statement, the voice usually falls slightly at the end. Repeat with me. I'm coming to the party. That falling tone shows the sentence is complete. Let's practice a short exchange. Question. Would you like to join us for dinner? Rising tone. Answer. I'd love to join you for dinner. Falling tone. Excellent. Mastering intonation will make you sound much more natural. Next, let's talk about emphasis. Emphasis means choosing which word to stress in a sentence. Changing the stressed word can completely change the meaning. For example, listen carefully. I didn't say she stole the money. If I emphasize, I didn't say she stole the money, it means someone else said it, not me. If I emphasize I didn't say she stole the money, it means maybe another person stole it, not her. If I emphasize money, I didn't say she stole the money, it means she may have stolen something else. One sentence, 3 different meanings, all from emphasis. Now you try. Repeat after me, changing the stressed word each time. I didn't say she stole the money. I didn't say she stole the money. I didn't say she stole the money. Fantastic. This is the power of emphasis. It makes your English precise and expressive. Now let's move to descriptive language. Descriptive language paints pictures with words. Instead of flat statements, you create images in the listener's mind. For example, instead of saying, I had dinner, you could say, I enjoyed a comforting bowl of homemade pasta, topped with fresh basil and melted cheese. Do you feel how much richer and more alive that sounds? Another example. Basic. It was raining. Descriptive. The rain poured down in silver sheets, tapping a soft rhythm against the window. Let's practice together. I'll give you a basic sentence, and then I'll expand it. Repeat after me. Basic. I went for a walk. Descriptive. I strolled through quiet streets, breathing in the cool evening air. Basic. She laughed. Descriptive. She burst into a warm, genuine laugh that lit up her entire face. Using descriptive language makes your stories unforgettable. Now let's combine all 3 skills, intonation, emphasis, and descriptive language, into one practice. Listen carefully. Last night, I walked home through the park. The moon was shining brightly, and the cool air filled my lungs. Suddenly, I heard a soft laugh behind me. It was my friend, surprising me after a long day. Notice the intonation rising and falling, the emphasis on key words like moon and suddenly, and the descriptive details like cool air and soft laugh. Repeat this slowly with me. Last night, I walked home through the park. The moon was shining brightly, and the cool air filled my lungs. Suddenly, I heard a soft laugh behind me. It was my friend, surprising me after a long day. Excellent. Another important part of sounding advanced is giving detailed answers. Many learners stop after one sentence, but advanced speakers add extra details and reasons. This makes them sound thoughtful and intelligent. For example, question. How are you? Basic answer. I'm fine, thanks. Advanced answer. I'm doing well, thanks. I just started a new project at work, and while it's challenging, it's also very exciting. See how the advanced answer opens the door for more conversation. Let's try another. Question. What did you do last weekend? Basic. I stayed home. Advanced. I stayed home. but it was nice. I read a new book, cooked a big meal, and finally got some rest. How about you? By adding details, you give your partner more to respond to. Another skill is creating balance in conversation. Advanced speakers don't just talk endlessly, and they don't stay silent either. They listen actively and respond with thoughtful follow-up questions. For example, if someone says, "I went to Paris last month," don't just reply, "Oh, nice." Instead, say, "Wow, that sounds amazing. What was your favorite part of the trip?" Or, "I've always wanted to go there. Did you visit the Eiffel Tower?" This shows interest and makes the other person feel valued. Let's practice. Statement: "I've started learning the guitar." Follow-up question: "That's fantastic. What kind of songs do you want to learn?" This is how conversations become richer and more engaging. Another element of sounding advanced is clear pronunciation. But clear doesn't mean robotic. It means speaking with a natural rhythm. Let's practice shadowing a short sentence slowly first, then a little faster. Repeat with me. Every word I speak carries meaning. Pausing gives my words space to be understood. Excellent. That is clarity, not speed. Finally, let's practice reformulating questions. This is when you repeat a question in your own words before answering. It shows you understood and gives you time to think. Example: question: "How do you manage stress at work?" Advanced answer: "So, you're asking about my strategy for handling stress. Well, I usually start by..." This makes your answer sound structured and confident. Let's try. Question: "What's your favorite way to spend a holiday?" Answer: "My favorite way to spend a holiday." That's a great question. For me, it's exploring new cities and enjoying the local food and culture. Before we end this part, let's review. Intonation: the rise and fall of your voice. Emphasis: choosing which words to stress for meaning. Descriptive language: painting pictures with words, giving detailed answers to extend conversations. Creating balance with active listening and follow-up questions. Practicing clear pronunciation with natural rhythm. Reformulating question to sound structured. In the next part, we will focus on metaphors, analogies, confidence, and precision phrases, techniques that will make your English truly powerful and professional. In the last part, we practiced intonation, emphasis, and descriptive language. You learned how to make your English sound more musical and expressive. Now, let's go even deeper. In this section, we will explore metaphors and analogies, confidence, and precision phrases. These techniques will not only make your English richer, but also more professional and memorable. Let's begin with metaphors and analogies. A metaphor is when you describe one thing by comparing it to something else, often something more familiar. For example, learning English is a journey. This simple metaphor helps you imagine progress step by step, like traveling along a road. An analogy is a longer comparison that explains an idea by connecting it to something easier to understand. For example, improving your English is like exercising a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Metaphors and analogies are powerful because they make complex ideas simple and vivid. Native speakers use them all the time. Let's practice creating one together. Think about public speaking. You could say, "Public speaking is like training for a marathon. At first, it's difficult, but with practice, you build confidence and strength. Now you try. Think of something you are learning and compare it to another activity. For example, cooking is like solving a puzzle. You have to fit all the pieces together in the right order. When you use metaphors and analogies in conversation, your English sounds creative and advanced. Next, let's talk about confidence. You can have perfect grammar and a large vocabulary, but if you speak quietly or with hesitation, your message loses power. Confidence is not about speaking loudly. It is about speaking clearly, calmly, and with steady rhythm. Remember, every advanced speaker you admire was once a beginner. They made mistakes too. The difference is, they kept practicing and didn't stop. Mistakes are not failures. They are steps forward. Here's a simple daily exercise for confidence. Choose one small phrase or skill from this lesson and use it today in a real conversation. Maybe it's a polite interruption, like sorry to interrupt, but may I add something? Or maybe it's an upgraded phrase, like I'm not entirely certain. Every time you use one advanced phrase successfully, your confidence grows. Now, let's move to precision phrases. These are short, elegant expressions that communicate your meaning with clarity and professionalism. They are not long or complicated. They are sharp and polite. For example, instead of, I need more time to think about this, you can say, let me reflect on this for a moment. Instead of, that's not true, you can say, I'm afraid that's not entirely accurate. Instead of, I don't agree, you can say, I happen to see it differently. These phrases sound natural in professional situations and make you appear thoughtful and respectful. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. I'm not entirely certain. I happen to see it differently. Let me reflect on this for a moment. Excellent. These small upgrades make a big difference in how others see you. Now let's practice detailed explanations. Advanced speakers rarely stop with a one-sentence answer. They add layers, reasons, and examples. For example, if someone asks, why do you enjoy reading? Basic answer, because it's relaxing. Advanced answer, I find it relaxing. But it also allows me to explore new perspectives, escape into different worlds, and improve my vocabulary at the same time. See how the advanced version sounds intelligent and complete. You can do this by adding 2 or 3 supporting points whenever possible. Let's try another question. Why do you enjoy living in your city? Advanced answer. I enjoy it mainly because it feels safe and clean. On top of that, the community is friendly, and there are many beautiful parks and cultural events to enjoy. Now let's talk about handling misunderstandings politely. Sometimes people will mishear or misinterpret you. Instead of reacting defensively with, that's not what I said, you can use more diplomatic phrases. Let me clarify what I meant. I think there may have been a small misunderstanding. What I was trying to say is, these phrases solve the problem without creating conflict. Repeat with me. Let me clarify what I meant. Now the second one. I think there might have been a small misunderstanding. What I was trying to say is, excellent. These strategies make your English sound calm and professional, even in difficult moments. Another advanced skill is using discourse markers. These are small words or phrases like well, actually, frankly, in fact, to be honest. They don't add meaning, but they guide the conversation and make your speech more natural. For example, well, I think we could try another approach. Or, actually, I really like this idea. Let's practice. Say, well, I believe we should start early. Now try. Actually, I really like this idea. Do you feel how these little words add personality? Finally, let's look at sentence variety. Many learners use sentences of the same length and rhythm. This makes their English sound flat. Advanced speakers mix short and long sentences, just like music combines short notes and long melodies. Example: the meeting went very well. We discussed several important updates, including the new project launch, budget changes, and team assignments. The short sentence grabs attention. The longer sentence gives detail. Together, they make your speech dynamic. Let's practice. Basic: the trip was fun. Advanced: the trip was incredibly fun. We visited 3 cities, tried local dishes, and met amazing people along the way. This is how you keep your listener engaged. Before we finish this part, let's review what we learned today. Metaphors and analogies make your English creative and vivid. Confidence comes from practice and accepting mistakes. Precision phrases help you sound polite and professional. Detailed explanations add depth to your answers. Handling misunderstandings politely builds trust. Discourse markers make your speech smoother and more natural. Sentence variety keeps your English dynamic and interesting. In the next part, we will focus on active listening, register changes, and conversation balance skills that will help you interact smoothly in every situation, from casual chats to professional meetings. In the last part, we focused on metaphors, analogies, confidence, and precision phrases. These gave your English more depth, clarity, and professionalism. Now let's turn to another set of essential skills: active listening, register changes, and conversation balance. These will help you interact smoothly with anyone, friends, colleagues, or strangers, no matter the context. Let's begin with active listening. Many learners think communication is only about speaking, but in reality, listening carefully is just as important. Active listening means you don't just hear the words, you show that you understand. You respond thoughtfully, and you encourage the other person to continue. There are 3 key techniques in active listening: paraphrasing, repeating the idea in your own words; echoing, repeating 1 or 2 key words to show attention; encouraging, using short phrases to keep the speaker going. Let's try them one by one. Imagine your colleague says, "I'm nervous about tomorrow's presentation." Paraphrasing: so, you're feeling a bit anxious about presenting tomorrow. Echoing: nervous about tomorrow. Encouraging: I see, go on. Each of these responses proves that you are listening, and it helps build trust. Now let's practice another example. Someone says, "I've been working late every night this week." Paraphrasing: so, you've been staying at the office late almost every night. Echoing: every night. Encouraging: that sounds exhausting. Tell me more. Do you see how simple and powerful this is? Next, let's move to register changes. Register means the level of formality in your language. We already talked about switching between formal and informal English in part 3, but now we will go deeper. Advanced speakers often shift register smoothly, depending on who they're talking to. For example, with a close friend, you might say, "Hey, wanna grab a bite?" But in a business meeting, you would say, "Would you like to have lunch together?" Both sentences mean the same thing, but the style is different. This flexibility is what makes you sound natural. Let's practice with another example. Informal: I gotta go now. Formal: I need to leave now. Informal: That movie was awesome. Formal. That movie was excellent. Repeat both styles with me. First, informal. I gotta go now. Then formal. I need to leave now. Excellent. Here's a tip. When you're unsure which register to use, choose the more polite version. It's always safe to be respectful. Now, let's talk about conversation balance. A good conversation is like a dance. If one person talks too much, the other feels bored. If one person stays silent, the other feels uncomfortable. Balance means you share your thoughts, but also invite the other person to speak. A simple way to create balance is by asking follow-up questions. If someone tells you about their weekend, don't just respond with your own story. Show interest first. For example, I went camping last weekend. Be bad balance. Oh, I stayed home and watched movies. Be good balance. That sounds great. Where did you go camping? Do you feel the difference? In the first version, the listener shifts the focus back to themselves too quickly. In the second version, they give space to the speaker. That balance creates stronger conversations. Let's practice another example. I've been learning how to cook Italian food. B. That's amazing. What dishes have you tried so far? A good follow-up question always shows interest. Another part of conversation balance is knowing when to share a personal story. If the other person shares something about themselves, you can connect by sharing something similar, but keep it short. Example: A. I recently started running in the mornings. B. That's great. I tried running last year, and it really helped me feel energetic. How are you finding it so far? Notice how the answer connects with a personal experience, but quickly turns the focus back to the other person. That's perfect balance. Now, let's combine active listening, register changes, and balance into a role-play practice. Imagine this dialogue. I'm preparing for an important job interview next week, and I'm really nervous. B. So, you're feeling nervous about the interview. Paraphrasing. That's understandable. What kind of job is it? Follow-up question. It's for a position at an international company. B. That sounds exciting. May I ask, what role are you applying for? It's a marketing manager role. B. Interesting. Well, if I may, one tip is to practice common questions out loud. It makes you sound more confident. Did you notice the listener balanced paraphrasing, encouraging, follow-up questions, and polite advice? That's advanced conversation in action. Another key to balance is time awareness. Sometimes we get carried away and talk for too long. Advanced speakers notice the other person's body language and energy. If someone looks distracted, it may be time to pause and let them speak. Here's a phrase you can use to give space. But enough about me. What about you? This simple line resets the balance and invites the other person to share. Let's practice it together. Repeat after me. But enough about me. What about you? Excellent. Finally, let's practice shadowing to tie these skills together. Repeat this dialogue after me with natural rhythm. Well, I think active listening is one of the most powerful skills. It helps you connect, it builds trust, and it makes every conversation smoother. Now your turn. Well, I think active listening is one of the most powerful skills. It helps you connect, it builds trust, and it makes every conversation smoother. Perfect. Before we end this part, let's quickly review active listening, paraphrasing, echoing, and encouraging, register changes, switching between formal and informal, naturally. conversation balance, listening first, sharing second, and inviting questions. Time awareness, knowing when to pause and give space. Polite reset. But enough about me, what about you? In the next part, we will focus on persuasion, negotiation, and expressing opinions with impact skills that will help you not only speak fluently, but also influence and inspire others. In the last part, we practiced active listening, register changes, and conversation balance. These skills made your English smoother and more natural. Now let's take another big step. In this section, we'll focus on persuasion, negotiation, and expressing opinions with impact. These are advanced skills that will help you influence others, handle disagreements politely, and make your ideas stand out. Let's start with persuasion. Persuasion is not about forcing someone to agree with you. It is about presenting your ideas clearly, logically, and politely so that the other person sees value in your point of view. A powerful way to persuade is to use the because technique. Research shows that when you give a reason using the word because, people are more likely to agree. For example, could we move the meeting to the afternoon? Because I need the morning to finish the report. Or, I suggest we try this strategy because it has been successful in similar projects. The word because signals logic. It shows your request is reasonable. Let's practice. Repeat with me. I'd like to sit by the window because the fresh air helps me concentrate. Excellent. Another persuasion technique is the yes and method. Instead of rejecting someone's idea, you build on it. For example, instead of, no, that won't work, say, yes, I see your point. And perhaps we could also consider this option. This approach feels cooperative, not competitive. Repeat with me. Yes, I see your point. And perhaps we could also consider this option. Very good. Now let's move to negotiation. Negotiation is everywhere in business, in daily life, even in family discussions. The key to negotiation in English is to sound polite, flexible, and professional. Here are some useful phrases for negotiation. Would you be open to? How about we compromise by, I understand your position, but could we explore another solution? Let's practice each one. Repeat. Would you be open to adjusting the deadline by 1 day? Now, how about we compromise by sharing the costs equally? And, I understand your position, but could we explore another solution? Excellent. Another strategy in negotiation is to express win-win outcomes. Instead of focusing only on your benefit, you show how both sides can gain. For example, if we agree to this schedule, you'll have more preparation time and will still meet the overall deadline. This creates cooperation instead of conflict. Now let's practice expressing opinions with impact. Many learners say, I think for everything. I think it's good. I think it's bad. That's fine. But advanced speakers use more powerful expressions. Here are some alternatives. In my view, from my perspective, it seems to me that, as far as I'm concerned, these phrases sound stronger and more sophisticated. Let's practice. Repeat after me. In my view, this plan has real potential. From my perspective, we should focus on quality first. It seems to me that we're moving in the right direction. As far as I'm concerned, communication is the key to success. Excellent. But expressing opinions is not only about the phrase you choose, it's also about structure. A strong opinion has 3 parts: statement of opinion, reason or evidence, example or detail. For example, in my view, we should invest more in training. The reason is that better training improves employee performance. For instance, last year's workshop increased productivity by 20%. Do you see the power of that? Opinion. Reason. Example. It's clear and convincing. Now, let's practice disagreeing politely. Many learners are afraid to disagree in English, but disagreement is natural in conversation. The key is to be respectful. Instead of saying, "You're wrong," you can say, "I see it a bit differently." That's an interesting perspective, but I'm not entirely convinced. I understand your point, though my experience has been different. Repeat with me. I see it a bit differently. Good. That's an interesting perspective, but I'm not entirely convinced. Excellent. I understand your point, though my experience has been different. Perfect. Another way to strengthen your opinions is to use emphatic phrases. For example, what really matters here is, the most important thing to remember is, at the end of the day, we need to, let's practice. Repeat. What really matters here is building trust. Now, the most important thing to remember is consistency. And, at the end of the day, we need to deliver results. These phrases make your message memorable. Now let's combine persuasion, negotiation, and opinions into a short role play. I think we should launch the product next month. B. I see your point, and I agree that speed is important. However, in my view, we should wait one more month because we need more time for testing. How about we compromise by preparing a soft launch instead of a full launch? Did you notice? B used agreement first. I see your point. Then opinion in my view gave a reason because we need more time and suggested a compromise soft launch. That is advanced communication in action. Finally, let's do a shadowing exercise. Repeat with me, copying my tone and rhythm. From my perspective, effective communication is the foundation of success. What really matters is not just what we say, but how we say it. At the end of the day, people remember clarity, respect, and confidence. Excellent work. Before we end this part, let's review. Persuasion, use because and the yes, and method. Negotiation, use polite phrases, suggest compromises, and aim for win-win solutions. Expressing opinions, use alternatives to I think, structure your ideas with reasons and examples, and disagree politely when needed. Emphatic phrases, highlight your key message so it sticks. In the next part, we will explore storytelling at an advanced level, emotional intelligence in language, and cultural awareness skills that make your English not only fluent, but also deeply human and impactful. In the last part, we practiced persuasion, negotiation, and expressing opinions with impact. Those skills help you influence people politely and share your ideas clearly. Now let's go even deeper. In this section, we will focus on advanced storytelling, emotional intelligence in language, and cultural awareness. These three elements will make your English not only fluent, but also warm, human, and powerful in connecting with others. Let's begin with advanced storytelling. Earlier, we learned that every story has a beginning, middle, and end. Now let's add more techniques to make your stories memorable. One technique is the rule of three. Humans remember information better when it comes in threes. For example, I woke up late, missed the bus, and spilled coffee on my shirt, all before 9 a.m. This creates rhythm and impact. Another technique is contrast. You show two sides to make your point stronger. For example, at first, I was nervous about the presentation, but once I started speaking, I felt calm and confident. The contrast between nervous and confident makes the story interesting. A third technique is suspense. You create curiosity by holding back information. For example, I opened the door, and what I saw made me freeze. Your listener will lean in, waiting to hear the rest. Let's practice together. Try telling a short story using the rule of 3. Contrast or suspense. It could be something simple, like a trip to the supermarket or a funny moment at school. The structure is more important than the topic. Now let's move to emotional intelligence in language. Emotional intelligence means understanding your own feelings and the feelings of others, and then choosing words that show empathy and respect. Imagine a friend says, "I failed my exam." If you answer, "That's too bad," it sounds cold. A more emotionally intelligent answer would be, "I'm sorry to hear that. I know you worked really hard. Is there anything I can do to help?" This shows care and understanding. Here are some useful empathetic phrases you can practice. "That sounds really challenging. I can imagine how you must feel. I understand this is important to you." Repeat after me. "That sounds really challenging." Good. "I can imagine how you must feel." Excellent. "I understand this is important to you." Perfect. These small phrases can change the way people respond to you. They make your English warm and supportive. Emotional intelligence also means managing conflict calmly. Instead of reacting with anger, you can use softeners. For example, "I see where you're coming from, but maybe we could look at it another way. I respect your opinion, though I have a different perspective." Repeat with me. "I see where you're coming from, but maybe we could look at it another way." Excellent. Now, let's talk about cultural awareness. English is spoken all over the world, in the US, UK, Canada, Australia, and many other countries. Each culture has its own style of communication. For example, in American English, people often use direct, positive language. They might say, "That's a great idea," even when they only somewhat agree. In British English, people may be more indirect. Instead of saying, "That's wrong," they might say, "I'm not sure that's quite right." Both are English, but the style is different. Cultural awareness also means respecting personal space, tone, and politeness levels. In some cultures, interrupting is normal. In English-speaking cultures, interrupting too much can feel rude. That's why polite interruption phrases like, "Sorry to interrupt," "May I add something," are so useful. Here's another example. In some cultures, saying no directly is fine. In English, people often soften their refusal. Instead of "No, I can't," they say, "I'd love to, but I'm not available right now." Understanding this helps you avoid sounding too direct. Let's practice some polite refusals. "I'd love to join, but I already have plans. Thank you for the offer, but I'm not able to this time." "That sounds wonderful, but unfortunately, I can't commit right now." Repeat after me. "I'd love to join, but I already have plans." Very good. "Thank you for the offer, but I'm not able to this time." Excellent. "That sounds wonderful, but unfortunately I can't commit right now." Perfect. Cultural awareness also helps in professional situations. For example, in English-speaking workplaces, people appreciate small talk before serious discussions. Saying, "How was your weekend?" or Did you catch the game last night? Builds connection before moving to business. Try this practice. Instead of starting a meeting with, "Let's begin," you can say, "How's everyone doing today? I hope you all had a good weekend." Okay, let's get started. This sounds warm and professional. Now, let's combine storytelling, emotional intelligence, and cultural awareness in a short role play. I'm really stressed. My project is late, and I don't know what to do. B. That sounds really challenging. I can imagine how you must feel. Actually, I had a similar situation last year. At first I was overwhelmed, but once I asked for support, things got better. Maybe we could brainstorm some solutions together. Notice how B showed empathy, told a short story for connection, and then offered help. That is advanced communication at its best. Finally, let's do a shadowing exercise. Repeat after me with natural rhythm. In my experience, the best conversations are not about showing off knowledge, but about sharing stories, showing empathy, and respecting cultural differences. That's what makes English powerful. It connects people. Repeat once more. In my experience, the best conversations are not about showing off knowledge, but about sharing stories, showing empathy, and respecting cultural differences. That's what makes English powerful. It connects people. Excellent. Before we close this part, let's review. Advanced storytelling. Rule of 3. Contrast. Suspense. Emotional intelligence. Empathy phrases. Softening conflict. Showing support. Cultural awareness. Different English styles. Polite refusals. And small talk. In the next and final part, we will put everything together. Fluency. Vocabulary. Storytelling. Listening, persuasion, and cultural awareness into one integrated approach. You will see how all the pieces fit together to make you a truly advanced English speaker. In the last part, we explored advanced storytelling, emotional intelligence, and cultural awareness. These skills showed you how to connect with people on a deeper, more human level. Now, in this final part, we are going to bring everything together. We'll integrate vocabulary, fluency, persuasion, listening, storytelling, and cultural awareness into one complete approach. By the end of this section, you will see how all the pieces fit, and you will feel ready to speak English with confidence, clarity, and impact. Let's begin by reviewing the foundation of fluency. Fluency is not speed. Fluency is flow. It means your words move smoothly, without long pauses or constant translation. Remember, you don't have to speak fast. You have to speak clearly. You can create flow by linking ideas with connectors, like however, therefore, as a result. On the other hand, let's practice. Repeat after me. I was tired. However, I decided to finish the report. Good. We worked hard. As a result, we achieved our goal. Excellent. This is fluency. Logical. Smooth. Natural. Now, let's integrate vocabulary upgrades. Instead of saying very good, you can say excellent. Instead of very bad, say terrible. Instead of very fast, say rapidly. Small changes, big impact. Practice with me. The service was excellent. The movie was terrible. She completed the task rapidly. Excellent. These are the colors that make your English painting more beautiful. Next, let's combine fluency and vocabulary with storytelling. A story is the perfect way to use all your skills at once. Vocabulary, connectors, intonation, and emotion. Here's an example. Last month, I had to give a presentation at work. At first, I was nervous because I had never spoken in front of so many people. However, once I began, I used clear pauses, strong emphasis, and simple vocabulary. To my surprise, the audience smiled and nodded. By the end, I felt proud. The experience taught me that preparation and confidence can transform fear into success. Did you notice the flow I used at first? However, once, by the end, I used upgraded vocabulary like nervous, clear pauses, emphasis, proud. I used emotion and a clear ending. That's advanced storytelling in action. Now, let's bring in active listening. Imagine you're in a conversation. I've been struggling with my English for years. B. Advanced response. I can imagine how you must feel. So, you're saying you've been practicing for years, but you still don't feel confident. This shows empathy, paraphrasing, and encouragement. That is the heart of active listening. Next, let's practice persuasion and negotiation in a natural dialogue. I think we should finish this project in 2 days. B. I see your point, and I agree. Speed is important. However, in my view, we need at least 4 days, because quality takes time. How about we compromise on 3 days? This reply uses agreement, opinion, reason, and compromise. Polite, logical, persuasive. Now, let's connect cultural awareness. If you are speaking with someone from a Western culture, remember that small talk is important. Instead of jumping directly to business, begin with something light. How was your weekend? Or, it's great to see you today. This builds trust before serious topics. Let's practice. Repeat after me. It's great to see you today. How have you been? Excellent. Another cultural point. Refusals are often softened in English. Instead of saying no, I can't, say I'd love to, but unfortunately I'm not available right now. This keeps the relationship positive. Repeat. I'd love to, but unfortunately I'm not available right now. Perfect. Now let's integrate everything into a final role play that uses fluency, vocabulary, persuasion, listening, storytelling, and cultural awareness. How's your week going? B. It's been busy but exciting. I've been preparing a new project, and even though it's challenging, I feel it has real potential. How about you? I'm a bit stressed. Deadlines are coming up fast. B. That sounds really challenging. I completely understand. You know, last year I had a similar situation. At first, I was overwhelmed, but then I created a clear schedule, and step by step, I managed. Perhaps we could brainstorm some strategies for you too. That would be great. B. Well, one idea is to prioritize the most urgent tasks. Another is to delegate small tasks. What do you think? This short role play includes small talk, empathy, storytelling, persuasion, and solutions. That's the integrated style of advanced English. Now, let's do one final shadowing practice to tie everything together. Repeat after me with natural rhythm and confidence. Fluency is not about perfection. It is about connection. Every story you tell, every phrase you practice, every conversation you join brings you closer to confidence. At the end of the day, English is not just a language. It is a bridge that connects you with people, opportunities, and the world. One more time, fluency is not about perfection. It is about connection. Every story you tell, Every phrase you practice, every conversation you join, brings you closer to confidence. At the end of the day, English is not just a language, it is a bridge that connects you with people, opportunities, and the world. Excellent! Before we finish, let's review all the key skills we practiced in this series. Fluency through flow. Not speed, vocabulary, upgrades to sound precise and natural. Storytelling with structure, contrast, and emotion. Intonation and emphasis, to add music to your speech. Active listening to build trust and empathy. Persuasion and negotiation with politeness and logic. Cultural awareness for international communication. Put all of these together, and you will not only speak English, you will live it, breathe it, and use it confidently in every situation. This is the path to advanced fluency. And remember, every step you take, every word you speak, brings you closer to mastery. Keep practicing, keep listening, and most importantly, keep connecting. As we now conclude this master class, I want you to remember that our goal today was never just to learn a list of new phrases. It was to unlock the confident, articulate, and intelligent speaker that is already inside you. True fluency isn't about achieving perfection. It is about the freedom of authentic expression. So, here is your challenge, your very next step. Choose just one single technique we discussed today. Whether it's adding nuance, framing an idea, using a connector, or simply pausing, instead of using a filler word, and deliberately, consciously use it in your very next English conversation. That is how this journey continues. One small, confident step at a time. Thank you for investing this time in yourself and in your voice. You now have the tools, not just to speak English, but to truly command it. Until our next lesson, here at MindPop English, stay curious, stay confident, and continue to share your unique and valuable voice with the